Hey guys, this is Kerry,
And this is Joe, and it's your boys.
the Los Pinches Niños. So I hope you guys are having a good day. Today we're going to talk about the full East Blue Saga. So in case you guys don't know, Joe here has seen the entire series, and up to date in the entire series, and I am still working on it. So as of right now, I've met Laboon, and we've gone up Reverse Mountain and came back down, and that's where I'm at right now, but we'll get to that later. Right now we're just going to go over a couple characters that have entered in the very beginning. So, Joe, you can start off.
The East Blue Saga to me, there's a lot of really short ones, like arcs, and then some kind of longer ones, but I really feel like, in general, it's just Luffy getting his crew together. You know what I mean? He goes out, he sails the sea with no ship, no one, he just is in a barrel, and that's how he starts his adventure off. And I think it's best to kind of look at it at character by character right out of the gate, instead of arc by arc, because some of them are really short, especially when you get into the back end of One Piece and you've got 100 chapter arcs, and most of them are very short in this regard. So I think in terms of that, talking character by character is going to be a little bit easier. I think starting off, obviously, you've got to start with your boy Luffy. You got to start off with Straw Hat Luffy.
Yeah.
And, very beginning is Romance Dawn, I think is what it's called in the manga, the very beginning where you meet Shanks. He, gets his Gummo powers, the Gummo no Mi, Gum Fruit, whatever you want to call it. But that one was just the very beginning, kind of the intro to it, the backstory, and really where the whole dream of being the Pirate King started. And I think that is, you can't talk about Luffy without mentioning that moment.
Yeah, and something cool, in that moment, Shanks. So when he eats the gum fruit and then goes in the ocean or whatever happens, and he's drowning, and Shanks saves him, and that Sea King just comes up. I mean, this Sea King is huge. I mean, this thing is massive, and I didn't expect anything like that. I thought, the kid's drowning. He ate a devil fruit, whatever. That's not even the biggest problem here. The biggest problem here is the Sea King, and Shanks, obviously gets his arm eaten off. And then at this moment, I don't know what happened, but I guess Joe does. Dude just stares him down, and the Sea King pisses his pants.
I tailed it out of there, dude. I did not want to have nothing to do with it.
Wow. Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, I didn't know what was going on. It kind of blew me away. So that was pretty cool, seeing, I didn't know Shanks, I thought he was just a drunk pirate, This is, my idea of pirates is a little different, I guess. So that was pretty cool.
And I also, I really like the Romance Dawn beginning simply because it is, you meet Shanks, it's where Luffy gets his straw hat from, but at the same time, straw hat and the Gum powers, but at the same time, it's one of those things when you go along the story, you meet Luffy as a person, him and his pirate crew, they're pirates, and all pirates are branded criminals by the world government, strictly because a lot of them go into towns and burn it down and steal stuff, and cause a lot of mayhem. Shanks is very similar in the way that the Straw Hat crew is. They don't necessarily want to cause harm to people. They'll fight when need be, as proven, when they fought the bandits. But when the bandits first caused the ruckus, in the saloon or the bar or whatever, none of them, even Luffy was upset about it. You guys must be badass pirates, and y'all just let these guys walk all over you.
Yeah.
And that one fat guy with the drumstick, the line, who's like, guns are for action, not words, and just whack, down that dude. You're just like, oh, it's going, it's happening.
Yeah.
And
they're more like the Straw Hats are more like we're here for a good time, not a long time. It's exactly what I kind of think about it is they're not really worried about death, which is what, Luffy turns into is basically, I'm here to be king of the pirates, and death comes, it comes. I'm not worried about it. I'm not going to freak out about it. My goal is to be king of the pirates, which is kind of a cool outlook on life, It's kind of like a stress-free, worry-free, and kind of a comparison to another anime, Dragon Ball Z, Goku. Very similar ideas of, I just want to be the strongest. If I die, I die, and, unlike Luffy, or as far as I know, Goku's died multiple times, and Luffy yet to die as far as I know, but I don't know, don't spoil it, but that's really cool, and Joe, you can go over the way Luffy entered in the series as an adult.
Yeah, he definitely gets the Gum powers. They're trying to, did you eat that fruit? He's like, this is awful. And head hits the floor, and that's the first time he, he gets that power. And with Shanks, there's just so many things with Shanks in that moment I've enjoyed. But yeah, the first time that Luffy, you see him on stage as an adult, he pops up out of that barrel. And I've always made jokes at work all the time, like Space Force. I was like, I'm gonna join Space Force and I'm gonna steal my own ship and I'm gonna be the first ever space pirate. Because what is the Space Force fighting if not space pirates?
There's got to be enemies or something,
Yeah, no. You can't just have a forest fighting nothing. Like,
fight, asteroids.
That's not, whatever.
Yeah,
I want to be the space pirate. And, I've talked to some friends, like, hey, you want to be the helmman? We're going to be all right, cool. The hardest position I have found so far to fill is the barrel bitch, the dude there for everybody else's enjoyment. And it was just really humorous to me for Luffy to bust up out of the barrel at the beginning. Like, I understand he can't swim, so he's in something that's wooden and will float. But just the first time I saw that, I just laughed so hard because I knew about the barrel bitch position, and it made me laugh. But yeah, he just busts up out of that thing on that ship, and little old Kobe's scared, and, he kind of runs into it. I think it's Alvida... Alvida beating Kobe down and making him feel all bad, and just the whole crew's like, oh, she's so bad. Like, what was her bounty? Was it
I can't remember. It wasn't. I mean, compared to everyone else, it wasn't too impressive.
No,
but this is before Alvida got also her devil fruit, or as far as we know. I know in Lobetown she gets that skinny fruit or whatever it is. She turns skinny or whatever.
It's slick fruit or something. I don't even know.
It seems like a pretty useless thing, but yeah, I mean that was pretty cool. The whole thing with Kobe. So the cool thing about Kobe is Luffy, just in a different way. I mean, he just as Shanks inspired Luffy to do what he does. Luffy inspired Kobe to do what Kobe wanted to do, and it's kind of funny that Shanks was a pirate and inspired Luffy to be a pirate, the greatest pirate of all time. The world's greatest pirate. Well, Luffy inspired Kobe to be a Marine. Or to push him over to be a Marine. And I think that's kind of funny how, it's very, very different aspects of the ratio,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a little odd, but at the same time, you haven't met him yet. I'm not going to say any names or anything like that, but Luffy's grandpa, who kind of helped half raise him, originally wanted Luffy to be a Marine.
Okay.
And it wasn't until he met Shanks that was kind of everything kind of turned on its head.
Yeah.
But him definitely influenced Kobe in that way. He's like, you know what? You're right. You're cool. You're awesome. I'm going to go and be a Marine. And he does. He ends up, Kobe does show up various points during the story. And he does a pretty good job. He has some moments that are really cool, but he's definitely not a throwaway character. You meet him episode 1, and he still has his points along the story. And again, that's just Oda just really making a world that you can get sucked into. Nothing happens too much that he doesn't mean to happen. And, even the first character he meets, Kobe, and I do like Kobe traveling for a little bit with the crew. At that point, it's just Luffy, I guess. But, there's a lot of times within the story where you're like, oh, is this person going to join the crew or is this person not? With Nami, there was a time where Nami was unofficial and then she became official. But for a little bit, you really didn't know what was going to happen with her.
Yeah.
You remember the two random, the bro guys?
Oh, hey bro, big sis, Nami. Yeah, those guys. Big bro Zorro.
Yeah, big bro Zorro, dude, let's go.
What are you doing? Why are you hurt, big bro?
Those guys. They, same thing. They traveled with them, but they definitely didn't become part of the crew.
There's a throwaway character.
Yeah, I hope so. I really hope I never see them again.
And I like that. I like, Kobe's character a lot. I like what Luffy did for him and all that. And, he compared it kind of the whole Nami situation. Well, we'll talk about Nami in another episode. That's a whole thing. I got a wonderful opinion on her. And, we'll talk about that. But it's enough for Luffy. Let's get into as of right now, my favorite character, and that's Zorro. And,
my boy.
Yeah, Zorro is super, super badass. I mean, it's just awesome, man. It doesn't help that it's the same English voice actor as Vegeta. It just kind of comes off that way. They just seem like I thought
it was Piccolo.
Piccolo and Vegeta, yeah.
Oh, they're the both?
Piccolo, yeah, they're
Oh,
the
I
same,
didn't know
yeah.
they're the same guys.
No,
Okay,
the same
well,
guys, yeah.
well, fuck me. There
He
it
does
is.
he
All
does a
right.
ton of stuff, yeah, it's great, and it's amazing. You know, I can't say enough about him. I know I'm just rambling on, but you know, the first thing you see is him tied up to a post, and you know the whole town knows him as some demonic swordsman. You know, this demonic, you know, just this demon, right? This evil person, right? And it turns out that's totally not the case. You know, he's stubborn, he's kind of mean, and just, you know, upfront and brute. You know, but he's not evil in any sense. And I think it's kind of cool how, you know, someone is searching for the crew just happens upon, you know, what happens to be just this amazing swordsman and all this, and it fits well. You know, it fits well with what Luffy's wanted to do. You know, just kind of make this crew of misfits, but yet it's like not misfits. These guys are like actually badass. You know, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. I mean, even when you first met Luffy in one of the first couple episodes, it was like, are you the pirate hunter Zorro? And he was like, I have no idea. I was like, I don't know who you're talking about, but he sounds really strong. Like,
Yeah.
I'm looking for true mates. We're gonna, you know, and Kobe was the end up one that led him to him with that Alpepo, or I can't remember the blonde-haired guy's name. I know you had Axe Hand Morgan there guarding him, but Alpepo, the weird little blonde-haired douchebag guy, he pissed me off. But yeah, I mean, you had Zorro tied up for a month, no food, you know, and they were still scared shitless out of him. Like,
Yeah.
he
I mean, this
definitely
guy has lost weight. Obviously, this guy is like just on the brink of death, and it's even cool. I remember, you know, in the beginning, he denies food. He denies food from that one person. I don't know who's trying to give him food, but that little girl or something. She tried to give him food, and he just like says no, and then ends up eating it. But that was pretty cool. And he's just kind of like this, not really, I don't want to say stubborn, but kind of prideful.
No,
you know?
very prideful.
And
no.
again, comparing to Vegeta and even Piccolo, you know, it's very weird that those two characters are really on par with each other. And it's funny you said something about Luffy, about like, oh yeah, it's cool, let's go meet him, because that's exactly what Goku says in a sense to someone tells him, like, you know, when King Kai and Super is like, oh, Beerus is the strongest of all. He's like, oh my god, yes! Let me fight him, please!
I've been waiting for this moment for 8 years.
Yes.
Let's go.
Like, I've died multiple times. I'm gonna fight the god of destruction. You know, that's just It's very similar to that. I'm not trying to compare them. I'm not trying to say they're the same character in any way. They are based off the same legend.
But the Journey to the West, yeah.
But very, very funny and honestly just childish in a very tasteful way.
No, which, I mean, that's part of Zoro's charm, though. Like, where Luffy is, you know, really goofy, and he has those moments of just being a total goofball. Zorro is a lot more serious. He's a lot more. I mean, his character does fit that dark demonic thing to, like, it broods into his character.
When he
He's
puts
a lot
on
more serious.
Yeah, when he puts on that really badass bandana.
That bandana,
cool.
he's like, all right, I'm not playing around no more.
Yeah, he gets like those dark eyes and stuff. It's really cool, you know. And let's talk about like the three sword technique. You know, at first it kind of put me off. I was like, oh, this is kind of stupid. Like, no one's gonna put a sword in their mouth. And I kind of saw him, the way they animated it and the way he was moving around. I was like, you know what? Part of me believes this could be a real thing. And I even had to ask you, like, is this a real thing? And like, we're like, probably not.
Probably
but,
not.
You know, we don't know that for sure. It could very well possibly be a real thing. But it's.
I don't do martial arts, but I've never seen it. But yeah, again, I don't do martial arts, so
yeah, they had me believing for a little bit, so that's pretty cool. And you know, something cool about Zoro's, you know, we'll just talk about this real quick. He's hurt pretty much the entire East Blue arc. You know, he is just banged up, and you know, even after fighting all of what's the name, Axe guy.
Axe Hand Morgan.
Axe Hand Morgan, yeah.
Just
I've got an axe for the hand. Fear me.
Yeah, ooh, cool. You're strong. Anyway, after fighting all the men and all that, and they're all beaten up, you know, he goes, and they're at the restaurant ship.
the Baratier.
Yeah. And who happens to show up in this tiny ass little boat? And
Mihawk.
Yeah, Mihawk. Like, you know, even before watching One Piece, I hadn't seen pictures of this guy, and everything I've seen, like, on Instagram and everything around was just like, yeah, the guy's a total badass. You know?
I would just like to say how much I love Mihawk's, like, appearance. Like, it's almost like, a Van Helsing.
Yeah, I was
Like,
in
it's-
Beef Vendetta.
Dude, it's
Like,
crazy. You just
very
this guy,
weird, yeah.
You just look at me like, I wouldn't want to mess with that guy. Like,
No.
the eyes are nuts. This guy, like, it just this whole the cross thing going on.
Really
His
cool.
character design is just very interesting. He does have this, Van Helsing type thing.
Yeah.
I don't really know, but it just always kind of put me slightly. It's like, don't do it, Zorro. Like even and I mean, Mihawk in himself is just really nice because that's the first warlord. You have the 7 warlords of the sea, and Mihawk was the first warlord you get to meet in the story.
Yeah.
And he sails around by himself, no crew, right? Like like Luffy was in a barrel, but like this guy, for as much as we know, doesn't have a devil fruit power, and he just sails around by himself because he has no fear of anything.
Yeah.
He is the world's strongest swordsman at this point in the story, and for Zorro, that's his dream. Talking about the pride thing earlier, like you have to have some level of pride
Yeah.
to think that you can be the best.
Yeah.
And that's his dream. That is what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And for him to fight the world's strongest swordsman, and he beats him with a letter opener, pretty much.
Yeah.
And breaks
And-
2 of his swords, and
Yeah.
yeah.
That was one of my favorite moments. Even before that, when before Mihawk had showed up, Don Creek's crew was all like, "That's Zorro. That's the pirate hunter. That's oh my god! Like this is the guy." And then all of a sudden rolls up Mihawk and like, "Oh shit! There's something even better."
Oh man, we thought we were
And they're
done
just
for
like,
with Zorro.
and they're just like looking at the two like, okay, well these two can take out armies. Like these guys are badass. And then all of a sudden, of course Zorro being the, gosh, whatever you want to call him, just like
He's badass.
I'm gonna take you on. Like I have worked years for this, and then like you said, it took a letter opener. And Mihawk told him like, this is all I need. Like, and I'm pretty sure.
He stopped
Actually,
all 3.
I'm not pretty sure.
Stopped all 3 swords.
Yeah.
Just
I'm 100% positive for sure, and this is probably fact. Mihawk, of course, could have killed him, chose not to bring him back. I'm pretty sure he mentions that, like, come back when you're ready, and it's almost took Zorro's. It did. Zorro asked him to kill him, and when he said, don't hit a swordsman in the back or whatever.
Oh no.
scars.
Yes, one of Zorro's most badass moments in the whole series, which I'm very glad it happens this early on the Baratier arc. But yeah, like about to get just chopped up, and he just turns around and he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "The scars on the back are a swordsman's shame." And Mihawk's like, "Oh, whatever, dude." Goes to town, but like that's just. I love it because he is all in on his dream. Like, if he's going to be a swordsman, he takes it so literal that he's like, I refuse to get slashed in the back.
Yeah.
Like, I would rather take a full-blown attack straight to the chest than even have a nick on my back. And he takes it as literal as you can of his dream. And, I mean, that's part of this whole thing. The very beginning of the One Piece song is "Come on, sail along, all your hopes and dreams." Everybody, Nami, Usopp, Sanji, Zoro, Luffy, they all have dreams. And I think that's one of the biggest things in One Piece is their dreams. Like you go into the whole backstory of Zoro with his I can't remember her name, and it's probably really bad of me.
The older girl who was the sensei's daughter, and then he didn't ever want her to because she was a woman, and it was just one of those sad moments. And then it was Zorro didn't care. He doesn't give a fuck. It's just like, I don't care, I'm gonna be better than you. I don't care, you need to stop whining. I remember one time where she like almost like ends him in the rain or whatever when she had ran off, and Zorro's like, I want this, like I want you, if you're gonna beat me, but don't like give up. Don't show me pity like this. Like I don't want that from you, and that's pretty cool, And
the same thing they did with Mihawk. Like I don't want your pity. Like I lost. Like give it to me. And that is one of my favorite Zorro moments in the whole show. And I mean it. Yeah. So early on, and just I mean Mihawk and the power discrepancy too. Like you're just like, oh man, like you didn't really get to see what Zorro could do against Buggy because how goddamn convenient that. Yeah. The first other devil fruit user you meet can't be cut. Like the first time he gets Zorro. Zorro's on the team. Oh, we got this badass swordsman. Awesome. And then it's like, well, we also fight the one guy that can't be cut because he ate the chop fruit. And it's like, great. Now we're gonna have to wait to see what aside from the first other devil fruit, which is really cool in that aspect. But yeah, Zoro couldn't do anything. Luffy had to end it, and I really wish, because I think if it wasn't for the devil fruit being the exact weakness of swords and other sharp objects, I'm pretty sure Zoro would have whipped the piss out of Buggy. Like
everyone there, honestly. Everyone there. They even had the other swordsman. He was on the that or the unicycle.
Oh, the circus dude.
Yeah, the circus dude. Like that whole crew, even the lion tamer. Like Zoro's just, and we'll get more on that because, how convenient again is it that after Zoro pretty much heals up completely after just taking some naps or whatever on the ship, that after he fights Mihawk, he's hurt even worse than before. He's not starved. No, he's on the brink of dying and probably infection. Like just so many things and. After this, we get to Arlong. We get to Arlong Park, and I think it's really cool. And we'll just skip past the whole. He fights that really cool swordsman, the octopus swordsman.
Hachi,
yeah.
My boy Hachi. I love Hachi.
He was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie, he was pretty funny. Had those cool swords. I remember at one point he's fighting Zoro, and he talks about the weight of the swords reached 500 pounds or something like that. It was something ungodly, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. Zoro's sword's don't weigh nearly that, right? And it was pretty cool. But yet again, Zoro's still hurt pretty bad. And I like that Arlong acknowledges that too, because Arlong's fighting him. Yeah, Arlong's fighting him, and just this doesn't really make sense. I'm whooping this guy's ass, and then he's like, oh, I don't feel as confident anymore. I don't feel as I'm beating the shit out of Zoro, the pirate hunter, the notorious, but. This dude's almost dead. And I think, in my opinion, and this is just opinion, but if Zoro's not hurt, he destroys Arlong. I think he does.
I mean, I do too. It's just so hard. It's
away from water. Away from water.
Oh, no, obviously. There's some things later on in the story you kind of can give it, but that's obviously with a lot of training later on. But yeah, I think maybe in the water, definitely no. Obviously, in the water, Luffy's going to lose regardless. Yeah. We saw that in Arlong Park, but yeah, I like to think, especially I don't know, the fact that he is a swordfish or not necessarily a swordfish. He's got the I don't know what the hell you call him. The jagged edge one, but it's like a swordfish to an extent, a swordfish fishman.
Yeah.
I think if Zoro was at full health, I think Zoro would have whipped the piss. Maybe not the piss out of Arlong, maybe not to the extent that Luffy hurt him, but I think fully healthy, Zoro is just... Yeah, he is my favorite character. He is... I remember watching it when I was a kid, and the three-sword style was so cool, and even today... Anything that I've seen, the closest I've ever seen to that was Zabuza in Naruto when he got his arms fucked up.
Yeah.
And he put that blade in his mouth and he was just going along, So it's the only thing I've ever seen like that. The three swords idea to me was nuts. Obviously they're okay, well this guy has three swords, let's give Hachi 6. Yeah. Which, and again, Zoro won. But I like the fact that it's you think his strength is only in the sword amount. Obviously, with Mihawk, that's not true, and obviously with Hachi, more swords doesn't mean more power. And they show that twice in the same saga.
Yeah.
That it's not really the number of swords, it's the level of the swordsman.
Yeah.
And he's definitely going to grow a lot. He already has within this saga itself, but it's... Yeah, Zoro is just such an in-depth character. He is my... favorite character, and he has some of my favorite moments in One Piece, and one of them being the just turning around and letting Mihawk take a whack at him.
Yeah,
it's just one of those. He is so into his dream, that he will die to become the world's greatest swordsman, and if he does die, then he's obviously not meant to be the world's greatest swordsman.
And let's be honest, that's pretty much the same for every character on the Straw Hat so far, on Luffy's crew. Past maybe Usopp. Usopp's probably gonna run, but I think Nami got close to death. I think Sanji's gonna die to see the All Blue.
He'll die for the All Blue.
I think so too, and I think Luffy, as shown, he almost got his head cut off in Lopetown, which we'll talk about next. But I mean, all I'm saying is, as far as Arlong goes, Zoro healthy, Arlong sushi. That's all I'm saying. He's sushi. It's go time. It's California roll.
He beat Hachi. He beat Hachi pretty easily banged up. Maybe the dude with the fins on his elbows.
He had those things.
But I mean, Sanji ended up beating him, right?
Yeah.
In the water.
In the water, yeah. He kind of played around with him. Sanji was in trouble for sure, but again, that's not his domain.
Yeah.
Swordmen are allowed to move around at incredible speeds in the water, so that's kind of cool. We'll wrap up Arlong Park right there. Let's go to Lobetown. That was next. This is pretty cool. Yeah. So in the beginning. Right there, Zoro walks in the sword shop. Something happened to his swords. They get cracked or something.
No, Mihawk just shattered it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Mihawk shattered him. Yeah.
Mihawk, and he borrowed some for a little bit. He got cracked. He borrowed Big Zoro, bro. He borrowed their swords for a little bit, which was it was all right. It was all right, but he did borrow theirs. But yeah, the Mihawk just shattered. Minus, I can't recall the name. I'm gonna look it up for you guys.
It's his main sword that she got from
her. From her.
Yeah.
It has a name. It's one of the better swords in the One Piece world. There's 3 different grades. His is in the 2nd tier. That one's 2nd tier, highest grade.
Yeah.
Mihawk has one of the
first tiers,
14 or 12 first tier swords.
Wow.
That totally black blade that Mihawk throws around is one of the best swords in all of One Piece.
That's pretty cool.
And I mean, obviously what you expect with the world's greatest swordsman.
Yeah.
But he did borrow those swords for a little bit. But yeah, Lobetown is where he really got those other swords. And
yeah. And at this point, no one knows who Zoro is. He ends up meeting that marine girl, and she's
was he lost? Did he get lost? I bet you he got lost.
It's probably got lost. That seems to be a running gag, and I think I'll get more into that. But that's
just wait. Yeah. He gets lost a lot.
Anyway, he's in this. He's telling this guy, I need to buy some swords, and this guy's like, "Sweet, I'm gonna make some money." And then he realizes, oh god, this guy's broke. Look over there in that bucket, buddy. There's like some $40 swords or whatever it is. Zoro's looking through this, finds a really sweet sword, and this guy starts sweating. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? Does he realize who Zoro is or something? And then he spats out something like, I can't sell you that sword. And Zoro's like, why? It's a sword. I want it. I'm going to use it. And the guy's like, it's cursed. And that's the first time you've ever seen something that's, all right, as far as I know, something that's like a magical item, right? Or something that's
stated to be cursed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then of course the infamous scene of Zoro just being the confident badass that he is and doesn't give a fuck what happens. Puts out his arm, throws up this notorious cursed blade and says, "Let's see what's better, my luck or the sword's curse," or somewhere along the lines of that, and it misses him. It goes straight down past his arm, and it's just cool, man.
Everybody fainted. Everybody in the shop fainted after it happened. Just
yeah. The marine girl freaked out, and then
was it Tashigi? It was Smokers.
Smokers, yeah.
It was Tashigi.
Yeah.
Tashigi's a sword geek. Yeah. No.
Which is pretty funny. She's a big swordsman, and then she just happens to come across Zorro, the infamous swordsman, and doesn't know at this point. She finds out eventually at the end of Lobetown after Smoker does his thing and all that. We'll get into that in a second, but yeah, that's pretty funny. Zorro.
I forgot he met Tashigi in that sword shop.
Yeah, she's pretty interesting. Yeah, and that was pretty cool. And he got, he bought that sword, and that's it's what's called the Sandai Katetsu, and the cursed blade. And then he ends up getting this other sword that the guy brings from the back. And as far as I know, that's not as important of a sword, but it seems like a badass sword. What I have right now, so I don't remember the name of it, but we'll definitely catch that next time.
Well, not all swords are named.
Yeah,
there are certain named ones. The Sandai is definitely named.
I think this one, maybe the guy had made himself, and he had it was his prized blades or something like that.
It might have been
really cool.
Not a bad sword.
Yeah.
It serves Zoro good. He just needs something to cut some people up.
But at this point, he's got some pretty cool blades, and I think that's really cool. And they just kind of set him up, and at this point, he's healed again. As far as we know, and he's probably still a little banged up after all that from even Arlong, getting banged up after Mihawk. But yeah, that was one of the most badass scenes I've ever seen in anime, honestly. Even the Mihawk scene, but that too, him throwing at that blade and just kind of smiling. is Blade gonna cut my arm off? And
Nah.
he just doesn't care. It's like, I'm gonna be the world's greatest swordsman. I need a good sword. Let's see if my stars are aligned. And that's a really cool way to look at life. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it for the first two characters entered in. We're gonna follow the rest of the crew. We got Sanji, Nami, and Usopp.
Yeah.
As of right now, in the East Blue of who's gonna join. We'll follow those up in the next episodes. I think the next episodes we might do just one, maybe two, but the other characters a little more in depth. We did Luffy's a little short just because his is kind of spread out throughout the East Blue, the entire one.
Yeah, we'll probably end up. I mean, Luffy is. We could sit here and talk about every one of Luffy's fights with Arlong and Don Krieg and Captain Kuro. Fuck Don Krieg.
What a bitch.
Yeah, no, I don't like Don Krieg.
He had to have been my least favorite character so far.
I will say, though, with Don Krieg, though, it was really cool because it was the first time you got to see, like, kind of some semi-super advanced tech.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, okay, like, if this guy can do this, what else exists? But it does open up other things, similar with Arlong, where you meet the fishmen. You're like, oh, so there are other species that aren't human. There are a lot of things hinted at in those beginning arcs that lead up later. But Luffy, to me, I think we'll probably end up just doing a whole discussion video of Luffy and his powers and what he's able to do. Especially since for most of the show, he's the only devil fruit user we see.
Yeah.
And that. I think, again, I'm not going to talk about it right now. We're just going to get into it later. It's a whole other can of worms. But I think we'll probably end up doing just an entire Luffy after the intro video because there's just he's in every key fight. It's just not something I felt you could bring up with somebody else. His intro for sure, just very short.
But we'll talk more about also like the enemies like Arlong and Don Krieg. More Don Krieg we'll talk about with Sanji, I think, and then Arlong we'll talk more about Nami. And I think Nami's gonna be a fun segment just because I'll tell you this personally, I hated her so much before I knew about the whole Arlong situation. As most of you probably did. Honestly, she was just
hot.
She was just awful. We'll get into more of that later. But that's gonna do it for tonight, guys. Appreciate all you guys listening. This is Carrie.
This is Joe. And hey, you guys subscribe, hit the like button, send it out. But this is going to be the Los Pinches Niños. And
adios, guys.
We're out.